Let's consider a scenario where a user makes a transaction of rupees 500 in Delhi. And after a few minutes, let's suppose a transaction of rupees 50,000 happened in some another country. So the question is, should the system allow this transaction or block it? Hi everyone, this side Priya Bhatia, and in this specific discussion, we will be talking about a very interesting topic, which is about how in fintech specific space we can apply data science specific problems, right? For example, the very first illustration which I did in the starting of the session uh, talks about this data science use case. Over here, to verify that whether the given transaction is actually belonging to a fraud transaction or not, it's a classification problem. And in this specific discussion, in this specific masterclass, we will be talking about this problem in a lot more detail. In the upcoming part of the section, you will observe that why I have classified this problem as a classification problem, what are the corresponding features which are very important for us, what is the complete end-to-end life cycle of this complete use case looks like. I have at the end of the discussion showcase a quick demonstration in collab regarding how can we create the features, what exact features looks like, and how can we solve this problem using machine learning specific use cases or the algorithms that we will be having. One important thing over here to understand that this specific part of a problem actually deals with the problem of imbalanced classes, right? Because when we talk about fraud specific transactions, they are quite rare. I mean, if let's say in a day, assuming a number 10,000 transactions are happening, so maybe only 10, 20, or maybe 50 transactions belongs to that fraud class. So it's a rarest event. So how can we solve this kind of a problem? We will be discussing about this in today's specific discussion. Just one humble request, try to watch the video till the very end so that you will get to know key what's the end-to-end pipeline looks like. Also, once you understand the entire video, do share in the comment section what is the important thing that you have learned in this entire discussion. Plus, make sure that you will hit like button, share the video with everyone, and do subscribe to my channel. With that, let's get started. Perfect. Now, today's topic is about data science behind fintech fraud detection. Acha, what is the meaning of, first of all, data science? What do you understand by this keyword of data science? What do we understand by that? Anyone who can just let me know? What is your understanding about this data science key term? Yep. Yes, in between I will use Hindi also, don't worry. I'm assuming that everybody is comfortable in both Hindi and English. सबको हिंदी भी आती है, English भी आती है, right everyone? Perfect. So let's get started and let's try to focus in the session now. जब हम बोलते हैं data science, तो इसका मतलब क्या है? It's kind of an you can say study of data. Someone is saying data plus pattern plus prediction, which is absolutely correct. तो इस specific field में हम क्या करते हैं? We will be having a data. Our main focus will be to analyze the pattern from this specific data and then to make a prediction out of it. हमारे पास कोई भी यूज केस हो सकता है, जैसे मुझे किसी बीमारी को डायग्नोस करना है एंड आई ऑलरेडी हैव अ डेटा अवेलेबल. लेट्स से मेरे पास पेशेंट्स का डेटा है, ऐसा ऐसा डेटा जिसमें डायबिटिक पेशेंट्स भी हैं और नॉन डायबिटिक पेशेंट्स भी हैं, और मुझे प्रिडिक्ट करना है फॉर अ गिवन डेटा वेदर द पेशेंट इज डायबिटिक और नॉट. तो इस तरीके की प्रॉब्लम्स को सॉल्व करने के लिए हम डेटा साइंस डोमेन को यूज करते हैं, राइट? जब हम बात करते हैं फिनटेक स्पेसिफिक डोमेन की, व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट अ डोमेन ऑफ फिनटेक, दैट्स द टुडेज डिस्कशन मेजरली, तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? फिनटेक का मतलब क्या हुआ? व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ फिनटेक? फिनटेक मीन्स there are two words, finance plus tech over here. What does that mean? It means that any firm which is dealing with the financial data and they're applying on top of it any technical, I would say, tech stack that actually combines together to form fintech. For example, आपके जितने भी banks हैं, all the banks you can consider are a very good example of fintech. Now, over here, today's problem is very common problem, and we will try to understand ki how basically, if let's say I get a message that from my account 1 lakh rupees debited. So, for example, I didn't make this transaction. So, how the bank detect it within seconds and sometimes even block that transaction before getting completed. I hope that happens a lot. Yes, everyone. I hope that happens a lot. So you will get a notification or you will get a call for the confirmation first, and then the transaction will happen. So the question is ki how the banks will be able to detect that is this a normal transaction, or I would say authentic transaction, or a fraud transaction, or a fraud transaction. And that's the purpose of today's discussion. So we will talk about the end-to-end pipeline, and we will try to understand that how actually the banks work to get a clear-cut idea that whether the transaction is authentic one or a fraud one. I hope the context is clear to everyone. You know that right now digital payments are exploding. People are using UPI cards more frequently as comparable to going to cash specific payments, right? So when we talk about fraudsters, they are also becoming smarter. We have AI driven machines which are actually helping the people to do the fraud specific transactions, right? And the problem is, because of this AI thing, as a bad side, companies are losing millions, billions of rupee annually, just because of this fraud specific transactions. So fraud transaction is not just a tech specific problem, I would say. It's a real time decision making problem under uncertainty. And today we have to discuss that how can we handle this problem, or what actually the banks are doing or consultation firms are doing which are handling this finance specific data to avoid this specific issue. Shall we move further? All good? Shall we move further? All good. Are you able to understand what exactly is data science? In data science, what we are doing is we are having a data. We are trying to understand as a model the patterns of a given data. And based on that understanding, we're trying to make a predictions out of it. What is fintech? We have understood that any domain where finance and tech is actually combined. Banks are the very good example of it. And we have understood that what we are going to learn in this specific masterclass, basically our core focus is to understand the end-to-end pipeline, that how basically data scientist people, data analyst people will be able to analyze data and give us a call back that, hey, it might be a fraud transaction. Do you have a look onto it? Right? So, shall we move further? Perfect. जब हम फ्रॉड के बारे में बात करते हैं तो फ्रॉड का मतलब बहुत सारे कॉन्टेक्स्ट से होता है. देयर कुड बी मल्टीपल, आई वुड से, टाइप्स ऑफ फ्रॉड्स which you might have heard of. Do you know what are the possible types of fraud? Okay. Have you heard about one common one is, you can say, transactional fraud. Transaction fraud. What does it mean? It means that, for example, one common example is there is a unauthorized card usage, and that could be the one possible example of a transaction fraud. For example, suddenly a high value transaction happened in your card from some another city, right, from some new device. So that is a very I would say frequent type of transaction which can be categorized as a fraud one, right? This is one टाइप जिसमें आपके कार्ड का यूज किसी और ने किया और इंस्टेंटली आपके पास मैसेज आता है कि कुछ काफी हाई अमाउंट की ट्रांजैक्शन हुई है एक नए सिटी में एक नए डिवाइस के साथ. सो दैट इज डेफिनेटली अ ट्रांजैक्शन स्पेसिफिक फ्रॉड. और क्या हो सकता है? देयर कुड बी अ आइडेंटिटी थेफ्ट. देयर कुड बी अ आइडेंटिटी थेफ्ट. इसका मतलब क्या? इसका मतलब ये कि किसी ने आपका फेक आई वुड से केवाईसी कर लिया, या फिर somebody has stolen the credentials of your bank account, login ID or password, right? That could be another type of fraud which could be possible, right? That is what we call as identity theft, right? Then the third one, the third type, which could be another category, is the account takeover. Is the account takeover. Over here, what will happen? The hacker gains the access and drains funds in his account. Sometimes we get a spam call, and they ask us to install some apps, and with the help of that they will gain the access of our mobile phone or of our device. And definitely after that, what happens after a few minutes, that all the transaction they did to their account, right? आइडेंटिटी थेफ्ट मतलब कि आप अपने सिस्टम पे काम कर रहे थे और आपने कोई फाइल खोल रखी थी जिसमें लॉगिन आईडी और पासवर्ड था, और जो थेफ्ट था उसने उसको देख लिया, एंड नाउ ही इज यूजिंग दैट आइडेंटिटी पार्ट, आपकी आइडेंटिटी को यूज कर रहा है. या फिर आप लॉगिन आईडी और पासवर्ड डाल रहे थे, पीछे कोई बंदा नोट कर रहा था, एंड दे आर यूजिंग इट, राइट? सो एनीथिंग विच इज विद रिस्पेक्ट टू योर आइडेंटिटी. So if somebody is using your login ID and password of your bank account, you are typing it and somebody have noted it down and he is using it, that is what it is categorized as a identity theft. The last type of transaction that we do have, which could be a fraud one, is with respect to a loan or credit fraud. Loan or credit fraud. What happens in this scenario? Right now, you will observe that there are a lot many fake profiles. So there will be a fake profile, maybe fake profile of you taking the loans and then disappearing. Again, that is also a fraud. So in this way, we do have different categories of frauds right now available. This one, and the last one is loan or credit fraud. Just give me a quick confirmation. Is this clear to everyone? Perfect. Now, how data science fits in? That is what we have to understand, because today's session is not about what is fraud, how many types of fraud we have. It is just to give you a context about a problem that we are dealing with right now. Now, the major question you have to ask from me is ki, how this data science that we are covering up today is actually fits in these kind of issues, right? That is the core, I would say, discussion of today's session. And if you get that, that is where I would say that your masterclass is actually beneficial for you. So, shall we start this discussion now? Shall we start this discussion now? Now, if let's say at any point of time in a day, if any transaction is happening, there could be two possibilities of that. There could be two possibilities of that, right, everyone? Either the transaction will be successful or it will not be successful. So, what I am saying is, can I say that this problem of fraud detection is nothing but is a binary classification problem? Can I say? What do we mean by binary classification problem? A problem in which I just have two classes. So either if let's say any transaction is happening, either the transaction is authentic one, I would say, or it will be a fraud one. So either it will be authentic transaction, which you can say is as a known fraud, and which I can label it as, let's say, 0. Or it could be a fraud transaction, and I could label it as class 1. Right? So over here, we have two specific classes with respect to a binary classification task. Right? Is this okay with everyone? But here is a catch. When we talk about fraud specific cases, they are extremely rare. Right, everyone? So whenever we are talking about these cases, fraud transactions, they are the rarest cases. They are the rarest cases. Can I say? I mean, in a day, if let's say thousands of transactions are happening, let's assume a given number. So can I say that maybe 1, 2, 3, maximum 5 or 10 are the fraud transactions, remaining are the normal ones, authentic ones? So basically, what I'm trying to convey over here, rarest cases meaning, I'm trying to say over here that chances are very high that these kind of transactions are 0.1% or even less. And this kind of problem is what we called as, in classification scenario, this kind of problem is what we called as imbalanced data set problem. This kind of problem is what we called as imbalanced data set problem. Why? Why it is called as imbalanced data set problem? As I have mentioned that if let's say I will be having 1,000 transactions happening in a day, 1,000 transactions happening in a day, what we are saying that these 1,000 transactions almost there are 999 transactions we are saying as authentic, right? And only let's say one transaction we are calling it as a fraud one, right? Can I say that is the real problem? Can we say this is the real problem? Is it something which is actually happening in a real time, or I'm just framing this? Is it real time problem or not? Tell me. It is happening in real time, right? It's not that I'm framing this problem. It's a real time problem. So the next question we have to ask from ourselves, in between somebody have mentioned about dataset biasness. That's true. So over here, if let's say you will take all of these transactions as it is, and in your data science project, if you will directly feed the model on top of it, your model will be more biased towards giving the transactions as normal as comparable to fraud. It's like if let's say I'm teaching you one concept, or it's like if let's say you will be having in data science machine learning also, deep learning also. 90% of the time you're learning only machine learning. Only 10% of the time in your whole day you are learning deep learning. So obviously you will be more inclined towards giving right answers with respect to the machine learning concept as comparable to deep learning concept. So can I say that your learning will be more inclined or more biased towards ML? Same issue will happen over here. Now over here, if you will see, 999 transactions are authentic. When you feed this data to the model, your model will be more prone to say that okay, the transactions are normal. बहुत रेयरली होगा कि उसको पता ही, पहली बात तो समझ में ही नहीं आएगा कि फ्रॉड ट्रांजैक्शन का मतलब क्या होता है. अगर समझ में भी आएगा तो ट्रांजैक्शंस इतनी कम है कि उससे बहुत अच्छे से कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं मिल पाएगा. डू यू गाइस एग्री विद मी? So that is what we called as imbalancing of a data, or that is what we call as a problem of data imbalancing, imbalanced data set problem. Is this clear to everyone? Is this clear to everyone? अब इस केस में हम यूजुअली क्या करते हैं? इस केस में यूजुअली हम ट्राई करते हैं कि या तो हम मॉडल में जब इवेल्युएशन करते हैं तो एक अच्छी इवेल्युएशन मेट्रिक लें, एक्यूरेसी को कंसीडर ना करें. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ यू डोंट नो, maybe after this session you can explore about model evaluation metric, precision, recall. These are the evaluation metric uh, which are actually plays a critical role in terms of figuring it out whether the overall result of my model is actually good or not. Over here, accuracy is something which was dangerous for me. Accuracy का मतलब क्या होता है? Accuracy का मतलब क्या होता है? Do you know? अगर, हाँ, correct answers, very good. So if let's say you are checking for 100 transactions, तो अगर आपका मॉडल 100 ट्रांजेक्शन्स में बोलेगा कि सारी ट्रांजेक्शन्स क्या है, ऑथेंटिक ट्रांजेक्शन्स ही हैं, जबकि एक्चुअली 99 ट्रांजेक्शन्स जो थी वो ऑथेंटिक थी. इन एक्चुअल सेंस 99 transactions were the authentic transactions. So what is the accuracy of your model? So what is the accuracy of your model? In this case, your accuracy of the model is 99%. ऐसा क्यों बोला मैंने? It's quite simple to understand कि I was testing for 100 transactions, and for 100 transactions, the model predictions are that all of them are the authentic transactions. But in a reality, only 99 transactions were authentic. But that number is so huge that if we try to see in a mathematical sense, we are trying to convey that out of 100, 99 are correct. So the accuracy will be 99%. But even though the accuracy is good, my model is very bad. So over here, what I am saying is, even though the accuracy of the model is really good, but the model working is really bad. Why is that so? Because our major target is to predict the fraud transactions in a correct manner. अब अगर वो फ्रॉड को ही नहीं पकड़ पा रहा तो क्या ये मॉडल अच्छा मॉडल कहलाएगा? अगर वो फ्रॉड ट्रांजैक्शंस को ही डिटेक्ट नहीं कर पा रहा तो क्या आप बोलोगे अगर उसकी एक्यूरेसी 99% भी है, भाई अगर वो नॉन फ्रॉड को बोल रहा है कि नॉन फ्रॉड है ऑथेंटिक है तो ठीक है, बट उसने लर्न क्या किया? मेजर लर्निंग तो क्या थी कि अगर वो मुझे ये बता दे कि ट्रांजैक्शन फ्रॉड है कि नहीं है, तो फ्रॉड वाली ट्रांजैक्शन मेरी इस डेटा में स्पेसिफिक प्रॉब्लम थी, राइट? तो अवर मेन कंसर्न इज कि जो स्पेसिफिक ट्रांजैक्शन फ्रॉड है उसको वो क्लियरली कन्वे कर दे कि ये फ्रॉड ट्रांजैक्शन है। क्या समझ में आ रहा है? राइट एवरीवन, इज दिस ओके? इज दिस क्लियर कि व्हाई when we have a imbalanced dataset problem, accuracy is not a good evaluation metric? So what we will do, because we have this problem, in order to handle this, rather than thinking about good accuracy, we will focus towards having high precision value and recall value. That's the end goal. That's the end goal. Okay, all good? Shall we move further? All good? Shall we move further? Okay. In these kind of fraud detection problems, okay, how many of you are aware about this precision value and recall value? Do you guys know what's the meaning of precision and recall? Confusion matrix? Okay, for those people who are not aware about this, maybe I will give you an intuitive idea at the very end. But I will share with you a few resources of my YouTube videos. You can refer them and try to understand the entire confusion matrix in order to gain the deeper understanding of this part, right? Obviously, within 2 hours of duration, we cannot cover up everything. You should ideally have the major prerequisites to have a basic knowledge about this ML model evaluation metrics. But if you don't have, it's okay. I will share with you the resources for the same, and then you can take a knowledge from there. Okay? Okay. All good till so far. All good till so far. So we have learned about major things regarding this fraud detection. Yes, Inish, it's absolutely correct what you're talking about regarding precision and recall. Perfect. Shall we move further? Now, usually when we have these kind of problems now, you will observe that apart from using data science, ML specific algorithms, people are also using something called as a rule based approach. How many of you knows about rule based approach? How many of you knows about rule based approach? If there is anyone who is new to this specific background, still you can attend this and learn something new from this discussion. I mean, everybody who is actually interested to explore this data science field should be able to understand this entire discussion and bookmark the important crux of it. What is the meaning of a rule based approach? How many of you knows that? Rule based means where you will definitely apply some sort of rules uh, in order to mark any transaction as fraud versus authentic one. For example, I am saying that, hey, just I am applying a rule ki block transaction more than more than 1 lakh happening specifically at midnight. So, this is a very simple way where we will be able to avoid these fraud specific cases. You will observe that in your apps also, you know, I mean, in maximum cards, we have a app, and with the help of that, we can manage those rules. For example, at a time, you can say that I just can have maximum of 5,000 transaction. You can put a limit on it. Have you guys seen that? In every type of a card, credit or debit, in the apps, we have a limit of that. You can, you know, off the outside foreign based transactions. You can own that whenever required. For domestic transactions also, you can apply some sort of rules. So all of these things you can do, right, in the rule based approach. Whereas when we call about this data science approach, specifically the ML based approach, what happens over here and how it is different from above way? In this case, our data, in this case, our data, basically, when we feed, our model actually learns the patterns automatically. तो इस केस में क्या होगा? इस केस में क्योंकि हम डायरेक्टली मॉडल अप्लाई कर रहे हैं, मशीन लर्निंग अप्रोच है, तो यहाँ पे मॉडल जो है वो पैटर्न्स को समझने की कोशिश करेगा, राइट? एंड टू बी वेरी फ्रैंक, इफ यू विल आस्क मी कि कंपनीज में क्या यूज हो रहा है, आई वुड से कंपनीज आर यूजिंग both of these approaches. So there is a concept called as hybrid approach. It means that the combination of both of them is really applicable over here. So in real time, I would say in companies, I would say hybrid approach is commonly followed. Okay, perfect. Now over here, I will talk about the complete end-to-end pipeline, how basically the entire project flows, and then I will showcase your practical live demo for the same. Okay, so that you will be able to understand this entire thing in a very good way. So basically, what happens in any machine learning based approach, this pipeline will remain common. So when we talk about the life cycle of any ML specific project, we usually follow this specific pipeline, which includes first step, understanding the problem statement. Now, obviously, we have understood the problem statement. Today, from the starting of the session, what we are focusing is on the problem statement only. We have seen that what exactly we are trying to solve over here and what is the actual outcome we want to achieve over here. So can I assume that everybody who has joined this session, they know what is the problem statement? अब देखो, अगर आपने प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट को ही गलत तरीके से समझा, तो आप पूरा के पूरा जो पाइपलाइन क्रिएट करोगे, जो प्रोजेक्ट को सॉल्व करोगे, जो आउटपुट निकालोगे, वो सब गलत ही आएगा. इट्स लाइक आप एक मैथमेटिकल इक्वेशन सॉल्व कर रहे हो, अब आपने इक्वेशन को कॉपी पेस्ट करते हुए गलती कर दी, तो आपका सोल्यूशन भी गलत आएगा. सो कैन आई अज्यूम कि फ्रॉम दिस पास्ट हाफ एन आवर और 40 minutes of discussion that we have made, you have understood the problem statement? कि given a specific record, I just want any model, any AI based machine which will be help me to understand that this specific transaction is a fraud transaction, right? After this, the second important thing, once you will understand the problem statement, you will work on data collection part. अब आप देखोगे कि यू नो हिस्टोरिकल डेटा के पास आपके पास है या नहीं. लेट्स से अगर आप किसी एक XYZ बैंक में काम कर रहे हो, तो ऑब्वियसली हिस्टोरिकली पास्ट मे बी यू विल ट्राई टू फाइंड 2 years, 3 years, 5 years of data, and you will try to see how many transactions are fraud, how many of them are authentic ones. You will try to collect them so that you can uh, start model training, and you can feed that specific data in order to understand the model key. This one is a fraud one and this one is a normal one, right? Right. So data collection is something which you will do. अब हो सकता है और होता ही है कि बहुत सारे बैंक्स या फिर कंसल्टेशन फॉर्म्स में डेटा जो है डेटाबेस में अवेलेबल है. For example, it could be a MySQL, it could be a PostgreSQL, it could be a SQL server, है ना? तो what we will do is we will try to write a SQL queries in order to fetch the data from a database. तो इससे क्या समझ में आया? इससे एक चीज समझ में आई कि whenever we want to work with these kind of problems, it's important to have a knowledge of SQL as well. So whenever you are preparing for the interviews also, make sure that whatever be the tech stack which I'm writing over here in this life cycle part, you should already have, you will be prepared for that. अब लेट्स अज्यूम कि आपने अपनी प्रॉब्लम के हिसाब से डेटा को भी कलेक्ट कर लिया. From a given DB, you have collected the database as well, data as well, right? अब third step क्या होगा? Any guesses? What is the third step? Can you guess now? It will be data cleaning. इससे भी पहले एक और स्टेप मैं बोलूंगी, that is data understanding. What is the meaning of understanding of a data? It means that our main focus will be to check all the possible features and its meaning, right? So over here, our main focus will be to check all the possible features, right? Just give me a second. डेटा कलेक्शन मतलब डेटा आपका जहां पर भी अवेलेबल है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल माई सीक्वल, पोस्टग्रे सीक्वल, ये सब भी डेटाबेसेस के नाम है. तो आप क्या करोगे? आप सीक्वल क्वेरीज राइट डाउन करके डेटा को फेच करोगे. दैट्स द सिंपल मीनिंग ऑफ डेटा कलेक्शन. अब अगर आपने एक बार डेटा को कलेक्ट कर लिया, व्हाट्स योर नेक्स्ट जॉब? नेक्स्ट जॉब इज टू अंडरस्टैंड डेटा. What do we mean by data understanding? It means that डेटा के अंदर जितने भी कॉलम्स अवेलेबल हैं, you will try to possibly understand the meaning of it. You will try to learn how many number of possible records we have. So all of these things you will do under data understanding part. All good? All good? अब हमें डेटा समझ में भी आ गया, क्लियर हो गया कि ठीक है. लेट्स सपोज आपने देखा कि आपके डेटा के अंदर 1000 रिकॉर्ड्स हैं और लेट्स से 4 फीचर्स हैं. 4 फीचर्स हैं जो कि डिटरमाइन कर रहे हैं कि क्या ट्रांजैक्शन फ्रॉड है या फिर ट्रांजैक्शन नॉर्मल है। ठीक है, उसके बाद क्या, उसके बाद क्या, अच्छा 4 फीचर्स भी क्या क्या होंगे, मैंने एक डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन के लिए कोड लिखा भी हुआ है, तो मैं उसको लिख देती हूँ कि लेट्स अज्यूम कि हमारे पास 10,000 रिकॉर्ड्स हैं, हमारे पास 10,000 रिकॉर्ड्स हैं, रोज हैं, 4 फीचर्स हैं, एंड लेट्स अज्यूम कि आपने ये भी देख लिया कि वो फीचर्स क्या रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं, जैसे कि अमाउंट हो गया, एक फीचर हो गया कि कितने अमाउंट की ट्रांजैक्शन हुई है, लेट्स अज्यूम। एक फीचर ये हो गया कि किस टाइम पे हुई है, एक फीचर ये हो गया कि लोकेशन जो है डिवाइस की वो चेंज्ड है कि नहीं, लोकेशन मिसमैच हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा, राइट। और लास्ट फीचर हो गया टारगेट कॉलम, जो कि है हमारा कि क्या ट्रांजैक्शन फ्रॉड है या नहीं। ठीक है, तो 4 फीचर्स हैं जिसमें से एक हमारे पास वी कैन से टारगेट कॉलम है अभी के लिए, और बाकी सारे क्या है, इनपुट फीचर्स हैं। तो लेट्स अज्यूम अगर अमाउंट 1 लाख है या 1 लाख से ऊपर है, टाइम रात के 12 बजे है, लोकेशन मिसमैच 1 आ रहा है, मतलब कि लोकेशन यूजुअली लेट्स से अगर मैं ट्रांजैक्शन अपनी सिटी से कर रही हूँ तो वो सिटी ना हो कि कोई और सिटी आ रहा है, तो देर आर हाई चांसेस कि दैट ट्रांजेक्शन विल बी कंसिडर्ड एज अ फ्रॉड और नॉन फ्रॉड, फ्रॉड, राइट। ऑन द अदर हैंड लेट से अगर अमाउंट सिर्फ 2,000 है, टाइम दोपहर के 12 बजे हुए हैं, और लोकेशन जहां से यूजुअली होती है वही लोकेशन है, तो ऑब्वियसली दैट इज अ ऑथेंटिक ट्रांजेक्शन वी कैन कंसीडर। आई होप इट इज क्लियर टू एवरीवन। So basically, whenever we are working with these scenarios, we need to combine all these features together in order to get an assurance of a high fraud probability. In order to get an assurance of high fraud probability. Are you guys getting my point? Is this something which is clear to everyone? I'll demonstrate you also. So for now, just understand how these steps will be done. Right? Now, once you will be able to understand the data also, next step क्या होगा? अगला स्टेप क्या होगा? हमने प्रॉब्लम समझ लिया, डेटा हमारे पास है, हमने कलेक्ट किया, डेटा को हमने समझ लिया, हर एक फीचर क्या रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा है वो हमें पता चल गया। नेक्स्ट स्टेप होगा कि डेटा को क्लीन करना। देखो, अगर आप किसी भी रिसोर्स डेटा को फेच करते हो, वो हो सकता है कि आपने पब्लिकली किसी वेबसाइट से फेच किया, वो हो सकता है कि आपने डेटाबेस से फेच किया, वो हो सकता है कि आपको डायरेक्टली क्लाइंट्स के द्वारा दिया गया डेटा है, इट कुड बी इन द फॉर्म ऑफ CSV और एक्सेल फाइल, दैट इज अ रो डेटा। अब होगा क्या कि आप ऑब्जर्व करोगे कि उस डेटा में बहुत सारे मिसिंग वैल्यूज अवेलेबल हैं, उस डेटा में बहुत सारे आउटलायर्स अवेलेबल हैं। आउटलायर्स का मतलब क्या है? एक्सट्रीम वैल्यूज, है ना। हो सकता है कि उस डेटा में डेटा टाइप मिसमैच है। इसका मतलब क्या कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल आप जो टाइम स्पेसिफिक कॉलम लेके चल रहे हो, वो टाइम के अंदर स्ट्रिंग टाइप दिखा रहा है, जबकि वो डेट टाइम टाइप का होना चाहिए। So in all these things, to handle all these factors, you will need a data cleaning pipeline. तो इस स्पेसिफिक स्टेप का पर्पस क्या होगा? टू ensure that we finally have a quality data, right? So there is one very good definition written by Anish कि it transforms the raw data into a clean usable format. This often time consuming step includes handling missing values, removing duplicates, dealing with outliers, and so on, which is absolutely correct. ठीक है, अब लेट्स अज्यूम आपने डेटा भी क्लीन कर लिया। व्हाट्स नेक्स्ट? डेटा क्लीन करने के बाद बेस्ड ऑन व्हाट एग्जैक्ट प्रॉब्लम यू आर सॉल्विंग, जैसे आज के सेशन में वी आर सॉल्विंग अ बाइनरी क्लासिफिकेशन प्रॉब्लम, बेस्ड ऑन व्हाट स्पेसिफिक प्रॉब्लम यू आर सॉल्विंग, यू हैव टू apply a model, and do a training of it. So the next step is model training. Next step is model training. So over here you will think कि लेट्स से मशीन लर्निंग में कौन कौन से मॉडल्स ऐसे हैं जो कि स्पेसिफिकली क्लासिफिकेशन स्पेसिफिक टास्क के लिए यूज होते हैं. इट कुड बी लॉजिस्टिक रिग्रेशन, इट कुड बी द ट्री बेस्ड मॉडल्स लाइक डिसीजन ट्री हो गया, लाइक वी कैन से एक्सजी बूस्ट मॉडल हो गया, random forest model ho gaya. Now if anyone is not aware about these models, it's okay. I mean, you can just go ahead and explore it after the session will be over. So all of these are the models which are basically useful for the classification specific tasks. That's the reason I'm mentioning these names. ठीक है. Now there is one question that data pre-processing nahi karenge. So when I'm talking about data cleaning, I'm including that step of visualization or pre-processing in this stage itself. Okay. So we are assuming that we have done that specific thing in the stage number 4 itself. अब lastly जब आपने मॉडल को ट्रेन भी कर लिया, what's the next step? उस मॉडल को प्रिडिक्ट करना. You will check for the test data how the predictions are coming. You will check whether the predictions are absolutely correct or not. And for that, the next step will be model evaluation. अब इस step के अंदर जैसा कि मैंने बोला, for this specific problem that we are doing right now, accuracy is not a good measure. Accuracy is not a good measure. Rather, we focus more on evaluating precision and recall value. I hope it is clear to everyone. Right? I hope I'm perfectly visible, clearly audible, and my screen is also properly visible to everyone, whatever I'm writing. So if there is anyone who is struggling with that, please check the internet connection at your end. Right? Am I clearly visible, properly audible, and my screen is also visible to everyone? Quickly, if you can give me a confirmation for that. Perfect. Now, let's assume you have evaluate your model and you are comfortably agreed with the, I would say, evaluation part. You're getting high precision and high recall value. Then at the final stage, you will go ahead and deploy your model. So model deployment is the last stage. And that's how the entire pipeline of, you can consider, machine learning project looks like. That's how the entire pipeline on machine learning project looks like. Is this fine? समझ में आया? Clear हुआ? All good? Everyone? Yes. Perfect. Okay. Now, what we will do right now? I will try to showcase you one live demo with respect to whatever steps I have done. Okay. And we will try to practically see this everything. I'll share all these code files and the writing part with you all after the session will be over. So please stay tuned. Okay. For now, just focus on the session part. Now, this is the code file. Now, don't take this code for now step by step. The focus is just to showcase you the live implementation of all these things, whatever we are discussing, so that you get to know that how the things are happening in the industries as well. But over here, definitely, if there is anyone who is actually seeing the code for the very first time, or is not already aware about Python programming, or learning the ML specific stuff for the very first time, you might not able to get this what I'm trying to convey over here. This is for those people specifically who are somehow having any idea about Python programming, have worked with machine learning prior, but still just have a look onto it to understand the steps one by one. So in machine learning and in Python, we have the modules like NumPy, Pandas, and sklearn. NumPy is basically used to do all the numerical operations. Pandas is basically used for all the data manipulation tasks. sklearn is majorly used to train the model, do the train test split, and whatever steps we have learned in the life cycle of ML part, actually those steps we will do in this specific illustration using sklearn module. So inside the modules, we have lot many functions which we can directly use without writing the code from scratch. So once I will run this part of a code, you will get to know what is happening. So I have imported all the required libraries. Now what happened? I have over here just tried to create a random data. I have not used any real-time CSV file because over here the idea is just to demonstrate you a scenario of the fraud detection part. So what I have done over here, you can see that we have created a random samples where the authentic transactions or the class 0 number of records are 9897, whereas the class 1 specific records, which are fraud transactions, are actually 103. So you can see that the class is heavily imbalanced. Can you see that? The class is heavily imbalanced. Why? Because over here, the 0 specific transactions are 9897, whereas 1 specific transactions are 103. So 0 indicates that the transactions are authentic. 1 indicates that the transactions are fraud. Now, if you will see how my top 5 records looks like, so we have this head method available in a data frame. Data frame is a data structure in Pandas used to store the data in the form of rows and columns. So you can see over here that we will be having amount, at what time the transaction happened, whether there is a location mismatch or not, and then whether the transaction is a fraud transaction or not. So in this way, we will be having 3 columns, which can be considered as an input feature, and a target column as fraud, which is either 0 or 1. So 0 means authentic, 1 means fraud transaction. Are you getting my point? Is this something which is clear to everyone? All good? So what we have done over here, we understood the problem, done. We collected our data, done. We understand our data, done. 3 steps are done. Shall we move to the next step now? So in this case, how many number of records we have? We have taken number of samples as 10,000. How many number of features we have? 4 features. 3 features actually includes as an input feature. 1 is a target one. 0 means the transaction is not fraud. It's a genuine / you can say authentic transaction. 1 means the transaction is fraud. It means It's a fraud transaction. That's the real meaning of it. Is this okay? Is this something which is clear to everyone? लोकेशन मिसमैच है तो 1 आएगा, लोकेशन मिसमैच नहीं है तो 0 आएगा. सिंपल. This data set I have just collected from this random function, okay, with the seed value as 42. So I don't have any CSV or Excel file right now to share with you all, but definitely on Kaggle you will easily find it if you really want to work with genuine data. It's just a random samples which I have taken for now. Okay. Now usually what happens is लोकेशन मिसमैच का मतलब नाम से ही पता चल रहा है क्या लोकेशन मिसमैच है. यूजुअली अगर आप दिल्ली के रेजिडेंट हो तो आपकी लोकेशन दिल्ली में होती होगी जब भी आप ट्रांजैक्शन करते होगे, बट क्या वो ट्रांजैक्शन अब कहीं आउटसाइड इंडिया हो रही है, या फिर इंडिया में ही किसी दूसरी कंट्री में हो रही है, किसी दूसरी सॉरी स्टेट में हो रही है. सो दैट इज व्हाट वी कॉल एज लोकेशन मिसमैच, which could be a very, I would say, high indicator, right? Which could be very high indicator with respect to the transaction part. Yes, everyone, is it clear? Okay, perfect. Now, whenever we have a data set, usually we try to split our data into two components, training and testing. In training component, we try to feed that data into a model and model will start learning the patterns of it. So what I'm saying is over here in the model training part, before this step, uh, what we usually do is before this model training step, in this specific component I am saying, we try to do a data splitting. Data splitting means over here we try to split the data into train and test split. So basically what we do, let's say I have 1,000 records, if I have 1,000 records, we say that 80% or 90% of the records will go towards training part. So maybe we will say 900 records will be for training, and we will kept a separate 100 records for testing part. We will kept a separate 100 records for testing, right? The idea is very simple. The idea is very simple that when we do this kind of a splitting with respect to the training and testing part, over here, from this component of training, my model will try to learn the pattern. Learn the pattern. And it simply understand which specific transactions are fraud and which specific transactions are genuine. And then we do the predictions in the next pipeline, in the next stage. And I would say model evaluation by comparing the predictions with the actual values from this test data. And that's the real time application of splitting our data into two components, training and testing. I hope it is clear to everyone. All good. So that's the same thing we are doing over here. We are saying that, uh, first of all, X is my input feature. Over here, X indicates the input features and Y indicates the target feature. So over here, we will just drop the fraud specific column. And in the Y part, we are taking this fraud column. And then we're trying to split our data. 80% of the data will go towards our training set, and remaining 20% will go towards a testing set. And this is how we will be left with a training and testing set. I hope it is clear to everyone. All good. Now, once that part is done, that is the time where we have to think which specific model we will be applying based on our problem. Because it's a classification problem, I'm going with a very simple model because I'm just doing a demonstration of it, but you can go with the advanced models as well at your home. So let's say we have just trained our simple model. And in fact, over here, apart from training, in one go itself, we have done a model prediction also. So if you just want to check how your predictions looks like, you can print YPRED values. So it will be a list of zeros and ones, where 0 indicates transactions are genuine, 1 indicates transactions are fraud. At the final stage, you will go ahead and check the confusion matrix, accuracy score, classification report. So when you run this, you will observe that accuracy is 99%. But don't happy with this number. You should be looking for this precision value, this recall value, whether they're good or bad. And that too with respect to the class 1. If you can see, the precision is 73%, recall is 33%, which is slightly a lower value, right? We are looking for very good precision and recall. It means that there is a lot more work which might be required, because over here, we have not done any data cleaning. We have taken random samples as well. But you can see that how over here accuracy is very good. But when we talk about fraud specific transactions, precision recall value, how it went to very bad. And that is the main concern. That is the main focus. Now, there are many people who are asking about this confusion matrix, its explanation. What is exactly do we mean by precision and recall? So let me explain that as well. But before that, is the pipeline and everything is clear to everyone now? Whatever we have learned till so far? I'll talk about the confusion matrix and everything, but before that, is everything is clear till so far, whatever we have covered up? All good? Okay. For that, I have to open my notepad. So over here, there is a concept of confusion matrix. And this concept is applicable only in the classification specific problems. This is applicable only in the classification specific problems. Now, till so far, you are clear that, what exactly do we mean by classification specific problems? Any problem which is actually categorizing my target value into classes 0 or 1, 0 or 1 or 2. It could be binary, it could be multiple class, right? Now, over here, talking about the same example of fraud detection. Let's take a similar use case of a fraud detection. So over here, we have the actual values in our data. And our data is composed of genuine transactions and fraud transactions. And then we do have a predicted values, right, everyone? So we will be having a use case of fraud detection, where we will be having a actual data, and then we will be having a predicted data, which is again composed of 0 class and 1 class. 0 means, uh, again, I am repeating over here. 0 means genuine transactions, and 1 means a fraud transactions. Is it correct? Now, over here, let's assume you are solving a use case where you are saying that actually the transactions are genuine, and my model prediction is also saying that they're genuine. So, what you will call this term as, what is your model prediction? Negative. And these are true negative. Why I'm saying so? Dekho, what is the prediction of your model? Is it negative or positive? It's negative. So you will mark it as negative. Now the question is whether it's true or false. True means when the actual and the predicted values are same. False means when the actual and the predicted values are mismatching. So over here, if you will just see this very carefully, the transactions are negative. We are focusing on a negative prediction, and it's true because actual and the predicted both are 0. Is it correct? Can I get a quick confirmation for this part? Everybody? Everyone? We'll talk about it, Dhiraj. We'll talk about it. Okay, based on this, what is this term called as? इसका मतलब ये है कि एक्चुअली आपकी ट्रांजैक्शंस जो हैं वो फ्रॉड हैं, और आपने मॉडल को ट्रेन किया और आपके मॉडल ने भी बोला कि ट्रांजैक्शन फ्रॉड है. तो इस बॉक्स में मैं क्या फिल करूं? What that term is called as in this specific case? It will be very good. It will be true positives. How many of you agree on this part? It will be true positives. पॉजिटिव क्यों? क्योंकि प्रिडिक्शन पॉजिटिव है. ट्रू क्यों? क्योंकि एक्चुअल और प्रिडिक्शन दोनों ही 1-1 है, मैच है. अच्छा, इसको क्या बोलेंगे? इसको क्या बोलेंगे? प्रिडिक्शन क्या है पहले वो देखो, और फिर ये देखो कि ट्रू है कि फॉल्स है. एक्चुअली मेरा डेटा जो है, मेरी जो ट्रांजैक्शन है वो जेन्युइन है, बट मॉडल ये कहता है, प्रिडिक्शन ही देता है कि वो फ्रॉड है. तो फ्रॉड है तो पॉजिटिव बोला, बट ये फॉल्स पॉजिटिव है. बट ये क्या है? फॉल्स पॉजिटिव है. समझ में आया? इज दिस समथिंग विच इज क्लियर टू एवरीवन? ऑल गुड? What is this indicates? What is this indicates? Very good. So this will be negative आ रहा है आंसर, प्रिडिक्शन नेगेटिव है. देखो ये पॉजिटिव है, 1 है आंसर, ये नेगेटिव है, तो इसमें तो कंफ्यूज होना ही नहीं है. अब वो ट्रू है कि फॉल्स है, दैट इज द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. तो क्या मिसमैच है? मिसमैच तो है, एक्चुअल और प्रिडिक्टेड में मिसमैच है, तो वी विल से फॉल्स नेगेटिव. So in this way, we will be having these 4 components available with us. I hope it is clear to everyone now. What is true negative? What is false positive? What is false negative? And what is true positive? Now, when we say accuracy, तो accuracy का machine learning के context में मतलब पता है क्या होता है? मतलब पता है क्या होता है? How many true values are there out of all the possible values that we have? तो इस कंफ्यूजन मैट्रिक्स में ट्रू वैल्यूज कितनी है, ट्रू प्रिडिक्शंस कितनी है? तो यू विल से इट विल बी नथिंग बट टी एन प्लस टी पी. true negatives plus true positives, divided by addition of all the four terms, which is Tn plus Fp plus Fn plus Tp. And that's how the evaluation will be done. That's how the evaluation will be done. Now, coming back to a question which you have asked, what is precision and recall? देखो, precision क्या होगा? What do we understand by precision? Precision says how many true positives are there out of predictive positive values. How many true positives are there out of predicted positive values? That's the statement which I have mentioned. So the meaning is how many TP, true positives, are there divided by TP plus FP. है ना? क्योंकि predicted positives क्या है? TP plus FP. So how many true positives are there out of predicted positives? What is the meaning of recall? Recall says how many true positives are there out of actual positives. Out of actual positives. So you know that these are the actual positives. You know that these are the actual positives. So it is nothing but TP upon TP plus Fn. TP upon TP plus Fn. Now over here, if I want to increase the recall or precision value, ideally, what I have to do? अगर मैं false positives को decrease करती हूं तो मेरा precision बढ़ेगा. अगर मेरा false negative घटता है तो मेरा recall बढ़ेगा, because they are inversely proportional to each other. Do you guys agree with me? Do you guys agree with me? How many of you will agree on this note? How many of you will agree on this note? कि अगर मुझे प्रिसीजन को इंक्रीज करना है तो मुझे फॉल्स पॉजिटिव्स पे फोकस करना पड़ेगा, उन्हें डिक्रीज करना पड़ेगा. अगर मुझे रिकॉल को इंक्रीज करना है तो मुझे फॉल्स नेगेटिव्स पे फोकस करना पड़ेगा और उन्हें डिक्रीज करना पड़ेगा. राइट एवरीवन? इज इट करेक्ट? अब फिर से हम जाते हैं. मैंने क्या बोला? इन दिस फ्रॉड डिटेक्शन सिनेरियो आवर मेन फोकस इज टू इंक्रीज दिस प्रिसीजन एंड रिकॉल वैल्यू. यही बोला. उसमें भी अगर मुझे कंपेयर करना हो कि ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट मेरे लिए प्रिसीजन मेट्रिक है या रिकॉल मेट्रिक है, तो अब ध्यान से सुनना. देखो, रिकॉल में मुझे फॉल्स नेगेटिव कम करना है. अच्छा, फॉल्स नेगेटिव का मतलब क्या होता है? फॉल्स नेगेटिव का मतलब होता है, फॉल्स नेगेटिव का मतलब होता है कि आपकी प्रिडिक्शन क्या आई? 0, बट एक्चुअली में वो 1 था. क्या मैंने सही लिखा? यही मतलब होता है फॉल्स नेगेटिव का. फिर से देख लो. फॉल्स नेगेटिव, प्रिडिक्शन 0 है, एक्चुअल में 1 है. प्रिडिक्शन 0 है, एक्चुअल में 1 है. यही है. अब इसको फ्रॉड वाले एग्जाम्पल से रिलेट करके देखो, जो हमारा आज का मास्टर क्लास है. इसका मतलब ये है, इसका मतलब ये है कि एक्चुअली में वो ट्रांजैक्शन तो फ्रॉड थी, बट मेरे मॉडल ने उसको जेन्युइन बता दिया. इज इट करेक्ट? एक्चुअल में वो ट्रांजैक्शन तो फ्रॉड थी, बट मेरे मॉडल ने उसको जेन्युइन जेन्युइन बताया. कैन आई से दिस इज अ ब्लंडर? कैन आई से दिस इज अ ब्लंडर? यस और नो? यस एवरीवन? Everyone will agree on this part. So over here, can I say that it is very important for me to reduce this false negative? It is very important for me to reduce this false negative and to increase the recall value so that we don't miss any fraud transaction so that we don't miss any fraud transaction. ऑन द अदर हैंड अगर मैं फॉल्स पॉजिटिव पे ध्यान देती हूँ, फॉल्स पॉजिटिव का मतलब क्या हुआ कि आपकी प्रिडिक्शन क्या है, 1 है, बट एक्चुअल में वैल्यू क्या है, 0 है. इसका मतलब फिर से फ्रॉड के साथ में एक्सप्लेन करके देखते हैं. मॉडल कह रहा है कि ये फ्रॉड है, बट एक्चुअली वो ट्रांजेक्शन फ्रॉड नहीं है. तो इट्स काइंड ऑफ अ, यू कैन से फॉल्स अलार्म. इट्स काइंड ऑफ अ फॉल्स अलार्म. देखो, देखा जाए तो बोथ ऑफ देम आर बैड. आइडियली इन अवर मॉडल the false negative and false positives both should be low, ideally speaking, right? But अगर मैं दोनों को कंपेयर करके बोलूं which one is a big blunder for a firm, for a company, for a environment where you're working with, or for yourself, which one is a big blunder? false negative पे ज्यादा फोकस करना चाहिए या false positive पे ज्यादा फोकस करना चाहिए? आइडियली फॉल्स पॉजिटिव भी हमें कम करना है, मतलब हमें प्रिसीजन को भी बढ़ाना है. बट मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि अगर आपको दोनों में से, रिकॉल और प्रिसीजन में से किसी एक मेट्रिक पे ज्यादा फोकस करना हो तो आप किस पे करोगे? रिकॉल पे या प्रिसीजन पे? रिकॉल पे, राइट? क्योंकि एक बार के लिए फॉल्स अलार्म बज गया, इट्स ओके, इट्स ओके, बट यहां पे लॉस ज्यादा है. अगर मैंने रिकॉल को नहीं मेजर किया इन एन इफेक्टिव वे तो मेरा नुकसान पर्सनली ज्यादा होगा. एंड दैट्स द होल पॉइंट. दैट्स द होल पॉइंट. आई होप इट इज क्लियर टू एवरी वन. आई होप इट इज क्लियर टू एवरी वन. Is it clear now why I was more inclined towards precision and recall in the starting? And now you get to know that recall is even more important than precision also. I'll share everything, don't worry. Is this fine now? All good? So, over here, that's the major thing which I want to share in this masterclass. So, what actually we have learned is the mini live demo with respect to the entire thing, whatever we have discussed about. Now, over here, I would highly suggest you all to work with a real-time data, which you can easily fetch from a Kaggle. And whatever we have discussed in the masterclass, try to use that specific knowledge. And on top of that, obviously, you can explore at your end the entire stuff. And, you can connect with me if you have any doubts. And you can let me know wherever I can help you out.